Jay, could you just confirm? Yeah, we're good.
That's good.
Jesus Christ.
Glorious. Dude, don't you love it?
I just love
Don't
technology.
you love it?
I go away, I get married, and I come back, and this happens.
Yeah, Obs is jealous, man.
Oh, he just wants
Obs is so jealous.
Man, I am so
I'm
sorry.
looking forward to this one too.
I apologize to the guy that literally has like had 4 minutes to breathe, sorting all this out, and we go live, and
oh no, we're good, man. I'm like thinking about using this toothpick on my desk, and then I'm realizing that it's been there for do I even use toothpicks? Where the hell did this come from?
That's
I don't know, man. I'm gonna leave that there.
I don't use toothpicks. Who's using toothpicks in your house? You got someone coming and using your setup, man.
Oh, my partner does, but maybe she left it here, which is this is interesting.
Right, we will try this again. So,
yeah.
Jeremy,
Hi.
Dynasty. We will try this one more time. How did yourself get into the industry? What was your inspirations? What was it?
So it was family.
Family.
Like it was so. Oh, there's sound. Oh man, I'm sorry. So I'm used to reading chat as well. So
yeah, sorry.
With my family, we're all gamers,
Mm-hmm.
and we've been playing games since forever. Like my dad, we didn't talk about this before, but my dad used to he bought a Commodore 64 with money that he'd saved up, and then hid it in his floorboards from his parents, from my grandparents. Yeah, and then they would take it out. Him and his brother would take it out, and they would game when they were off at work, and then they would hide it again.
Oh my god, that's actually so cool.
It was pretty hardcore, because this is either in the Philippines or in Saigon.
Right, I see.
I don't know where that happened. It may have even been in the U.S. I don't know. My dad's he's Filipino, so he grew up in the Philippines for a little while. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so my family, they're all gamers. My dad's been playing WoW since beta in 2000. I think that's 2004.
Yeah.
And then his brother, Bertrand, he was like, oh, I want to get into like making games. And I don't even know what that means at the time. I think I was like, that was in 1998 or 98 or 97, somewhere in there. And then he went to school for it. And I don't even remember where he went. I just knew that was like, that's super cool. And he ended up at LucasArts after Sega, I think. He worked at Sega for a while, and then he went to LucasArts, and he was at LucasArts until they closed that down. But he has like, I don't know, 10 games on him. And then my other uncle, who is at Blizzard, I think he's got 10 or 11 years at Blizzard now. So it's just in the blood.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that's just literally, it just runs in the blood, all this, doesn't it? So it's through them, like, I'm guessing it was just natural for you to be interested in getting into the industry. Being a gamer and being that your family are all gamers and working in the games industry, was it quite natural for you? Like you knew from an early age, this is what
I didn't even know what video games, like what that meant to make a video game. Mm-hmm. Like I ended up going to the Art Institute, but when I went there, I went for a bachelor's in media arts and animation. And yet to this day, like I can't animate myself out of a corner.
Really?
Yeah. I'm terrible at animation because like once I got there, I was like, oh wow, I hate animation. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate people that do it, but it's not for me. And then I found out like I can sculpt rocks, and that was the end of everything.
Oh god, I think every like environment, in fact every artist who's messed with ZBrush, like going back and sculpting rocks is the most like cathartic thing ever. Like you could just go back and have a play, and it's just so like natural. It's interesting. So you literally got into the art school. You were doing media and animation, and you just saw all this other stuff, and you're like, oh, actually, I'd rather do that instead. And you just pursued it.
Yeah, we had a class where it was like Intro to 3D and 3ds Max, and like I was saying earlier, when I first tried out Max, I think it was like 1999 or 2000. I don't know, somewhere in there. But yeah. Like, you had to start it through DOS. And so like the first thing I ever made was like a solar system where I was just trying to figure out how to like place spheres. And I was like, oh man, this is crazy. But so I did like a 3D class. I think the first thing I modeled was a USB stick. And back then a big USB stick was like 256 megabytes.
Yeah.
So it was super tiny.
Oh, so crazy.
Dude, it's a weird time. I can go back to the stuff we were talking about before. It's like when I got out of high school, so I was 18 years old, and it was 2004. MySpace was still dominating the social scene, and no one was even calling it a social network yet.
Yeah.
Like, and YouTube had just switched their logo to a red button. It's super weird, man.
You've gone
Memes weren't even a thing yet.
This is what I find crazy. You've like, so people, I think people between like your age and my age, I think the generation has grown up through the sort of technological revolution. Like you said, memory sticks back then were like 200 meg or whatever it was. But like now you look at a memory stick and it's like, if it's not more than like 10 gig, you're like, it's a piece of trash. You get like, gig memory sticks for like £10 from Tesco. So you've grown up through all of them iterations, going from not technology to world being completely revolved around technology. I mean, that's kind of crazy when you think about it.
It's weird, man.
Did you think so doing that where you sort of had an appreciation for it, you went to this art school, you saw animation, you got to dabble in a lot of different things. Did it help us sort of have an appreciation for all the other mediums? Is there any other mediums you were interested in at the time, or was it you found your niche and you found the thing you liked and it's like, all these other things are cool, but this is me, this is what I want to do? Is that how it went for you?
Well, so when I started going to that school, I was already doing like oil painting. So I was like trying to make like paintings and stuff, but it was just because it was something that I could do that was different and trying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once I got into 3D, it was like, oh man, this is really cool. And I think the big turning point was when I realized that, because I'd been playing with Photoshop with like making websites and stuff when I was in high school. And I was like, man, Photoshop's so nice with its layers and stuff like that. And then realizing that I can put that on 3-dimensional mesh. And then like, it was like the world was crumbling around me and I didn't care anymore. Like, I just had to keep doing 3D.
So
and then what's up?
So from that, was that sort of what it was? Is like a rabbit hole. You sort of, okay, go into 3ds Max and you're doing oil paintings and you like sort of go into Photoshop, and then it's like, okay, there's this other thing I could do now, and there's obviously ZBrush as well. Was it like a rabbit hole sort of effect where it's just like more and more stuff you could potentially do? Is that how it went?
Yeah. So like, let's see how it goes. So the school was 3ds Max, but like shortly after I started doing 3D, it went into Maya. Like the school just decided to switch into Maya. And it's like, oh, okay.
Just like that.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, this year we're gonna be Maya now. Or like it wasn't even like, they were just like, okay, we're on Maya Studio now, and it was like, oh, okay. So I just tried to keep using Max, and then they were like, no, we gotta switch to Maya. Like they're teaching all this stuff, and I'm like, man, I gotta learn things too. So switch to Maya. And then that's around the time that I joined like Game Artisans, and I was watching 3D Total a lot.
Yeah.
And Eat 3D was getting ready. Maybe like a year later, Eat 3D came out. But Polycount, that was like, I mean, anyone are like in their 30s that are in the games industry, they feel for Polycount. That's like where people were born.
Yeah, that's like the original
that's place where it happened, man. So I was on there, and everyone's showing these ZBrush models, and I'm like, what the hell is ZBrush? And this is like before ZBrush 2.5. So everything, they didn't have a perspective button yet, so everything was flat. And then when you saved it, it would save flat if you didn't save as a tool. It would save it flat, and you'd just lose your models. So I was watching people lose their minds. But yeah, our school didn't have ZBrush. So I started bugging the board about it, and eventually they installed it on the computers in the labs, and I was like, oh man, this is the beginning. It's the beginning of the end of me.
But I remember when they did that to us. Yeah. We were at college, and it's like there's 3 of us at college who like really took it seriously in terms of wanting to learn game art. And we were on, I mean, this is in 2012, and they were on Max 2004. And we went through these pretty similar processes. Like, okay, guys, this isn't the software we sort of need to learn. To get into the games industry, bug them until they finally decide to, okay, we'll get you the new software. I mean, we were leaving by the time they got it sorted, but it was good that they finally did that. It's one thing you mentioned, the Polycount thing. Just out of curiosity, just like a sort of a quick fire question. Do you think that's sort of what ArtStation's becoming? You said like you made your name on Polycount, or was like that was the thing. Do you think
I mean,
ArtStation's turned into that a little bit?
I don't think so. I mean, I think ArtStation's kind of replaced everyone's portfolio.
Yeah.
But like, if you want feedback, it's all about the online communities, and Polycount is one of those. It's one of the oldest ones at this point, I think, as far as like retaining a user base and people just use it.
I mean, you say that, it's kind of crazy. For me, I mean, shameless plug, but your community, the Empire, it's kind of crazy. You said like, you use the you use Polycount and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and see, I haven't been on it in years, man.
It's almost unintentional. Was it unintentional? Almost like this Discord community you've created, like it's where I mean, how is it now? Thousands of people at this point, surely.
Yeah, we just passed 2,500.
So it's like it's 2,500 people, very really, really dedicated artists, and I mean, it's a great community. I mean, it's what helped me stay, interested in the industry and not fall out of it. It's done it for a lot of people. I have a lot of friends in here. And you've almost you've replicated that sort of community vibe.
I don't know how that happened.
It's completely accidental. I mean, let's go back a little bit then. Like, what the streaming stuff? Why did you decide to start streaming? Was it always going to be game art, or was it gaming?
So, I may have removed it from my channel now at the bottom. You know how you have the little cards?
Yeah.
But I started streaming. Let's see. On Blip TV, I think it was. So it was before Twitch existed.
Mm-hmm.
So I started streaming really early on just to stream StarCraft. StarCraft 2 was just in beta, and I was like watching Day 9, and he was doing this streaming thing. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. He's got people watching him, and he's educating them on like how to play StarCraft better. And I found that so interesting.
Yeah.
And like he'd built his own little community around it. And I found that really intriguing. So I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I just started streaming StarCraft. And man, I bet you guys would have loved to seen me have that amount of dedicated time to do 3D art, because I was streaming StarCraft every morning for 3 hours before going to work. Like, it was crazy.
Were you working in game art at that point in time?
Yeah, I was at Monolith at the time, so I was working on Shadow of Mordor.
Oh my word! So 3 hours in the morning to stream StarCraft.
Yeah, with feedback. Like I was like, if I won a game, I would talk about why I won, and we would watch the video back. Like we'd load up the game, and then watch the playthrough again. And then like, oh, this is the key moment when like it's obvious like I was gonna win. Like once I won that, he was screwed. But like if I lost, we would talk about why I lost and where I can fix that. And it was like that for. Yeah, it was 3 hours every morning, Monday through Friday for 2.5 years or something like that.
You naturally gravitated towards the sort of I suppose it's a cliche, but a mentorship style of role. Like you did it with StarCraft. You were sort of mentoring people, and now you've got this Discord community, and you have your own mentorship scheme. You obviously critique people. And I'm guessing in your day job as well as a senior artist, part of your senior role is critiquing people, helping them, mentoring juniors. Is that something?
Yeah, and I think everyone does that.
Is that natural for you though? Do you think? Like, you seem like the sort of person who.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it's just me talking.
True.
Like half the time on the stream, it's me just filling the air because I like to talk about stuff that I find interesting.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that everything that I'm talking about revolves around video game art and like creating game art. And, trying this new tool. And like that temple scene's never going to get finished, man. I can feel it and I don't really care. But like people find that very odd. Yeah. Because they want to finish things. And I just want to dabble in stuff.
Well, I think it's just slightly different. I think it's just different motivators because like obviously when you, it's like you get a like on Facebook or so on Instagram. It's like a hit of dopamine, or like when you post art on ArtStation, you get people liking and commenting, you get hit of dopamine. I'm guessing for you, your kick, the thing that gives you a kick, is seeing people develop, getting people saying, the people likes of me going, you're the reason I stayed in the games industry. That
sounds super ego heavy, but yes.
I'm getting. Well, you got to get something out of it. Like you got to get that dopamine kick from somewhere. But
apparently you're quiet.
I'm quiet again.
And it just says, well, you're talking and they hear you, but you're a bit quiet, so it's just raising your volume up.
Cool. It's cool.
But yeah, I mean, so I guess I'll go back a little bit and talk about like, so I was in school. I went for 4 years, and when it came to getting into the industry, I was already in an internship. I've been in an internship for like a year and a half while I was in school, or maybe a year and a few months, something like that. And I was working on Pirates of the Burning Sea. It's like a pirate MMO from like 2000. I think it's be 2007 when it came out. And so I shipped a game before I was even out of school, which was really weird.
That's insane. Oh my God.
And then when I finished school, they didn't seem to be like making any moves towards like, well, school wasn't done yet. It was getting close. And they didn't seem to be making any moves towards like full-time hiring me or anything. So I just posted on Polycount that, hey, I'm about to graduate. Here's my portfolio. We're going to have like I don't know if in university, this must be pretty common, but like a show and tell where you show like what you made while you were at school, and like companies come by and they look at your stuff and maybe they get your business card and all that jazz. And yeah, a company grabbed me within 2 weeks. God, this story is rough, man. So
should we say, is this going to get emotional?
Well, it's just like they grabbed me like 2 weeks after I had graduated. They had already like had me on an interview, and they were like, oh yeah, we like you. I got that scary question that no one prepared me for, which was like, so how much do you want to make? And I have no idea like what that even means. So I just said a number, of course.
Yeah.
And they gave it to me, and I'm like, oh man, that means it was too low.
Yeah.
That means it was way too low. So I started there, and I think this was Zombie Studios. So I was working on Saw, the video game. So starting like small studios, right? That studio was around forever. They're closed now, but they were around forever.
Yeah.
So I was there, and this is 2008. So I think I was there for 5 or 6 months, and that's when the economy crashed. So it was literally like economy crashed, and all of a sudden, like the boss is like, hey, so our publisher filed bankruptcy, which means that no money is coming in for people's paychecks. And so he was paying out of his pocket while he was flying all over the world trying to get a publisher. And I think it was like 6 months, or no, not even 6 months, like 6 weeks of that. And then he had to lay off like 73% of the studio.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, and it was really sad because it was a very family culture studio.
Yeah.
So when that happened, this is like going home Christmas time without working anymore, right? It's just laid off. This is my first experience in the game industry outside of an internship. And then, I just I went home, and I like I suggest to everyone, when you apply to studios, you shotgun apply. Like you apply to every studio that you find interesting that makes games that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm.
So I shotgun out a bunch of resumes or CVs to a bunch of studios, and then I was doing an art test the week before Christmas. And then right after Christmas, they had me come in for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got the job, and that was for Warner Brothers Studios. I was Snowblind. So then I was working on Lord of the Rings games for like 4 years after that.
Okay, that's pretty sick. I suppose that's not a bad Christmas present either. Like, going from the art test to getting your interview and stuff, like, not a bad Christmas present, really.
Yeah. It was weird because I don't remember freaking out. And I think I should have been panicking, but I don't know. It's weird.
So what, just to touch on the art test a little bit, like, now with your, obviously, years of experience, what is like we're going to talk broadly speaking here, purpose of an art test, and if you're sort of looking at someone's art test, what are you looking for from them? Because obviously you get given a time schedule, say for example it's a week art test. What is the art test there to do? What are you trying to do? Because obviously you've already got their portfolio, which you have a good idea of, oh yeah, this is what he does. This is what his skills are. Like, is the art test to test the weak spots, or is it just to see what you're like under a time pressure?
So, hi Cass. Sorry. So it's weird because like art tests they're not necessarily required, but like at the same time, they're usually there to see if someone is capable of doing the job that they're applying for, right? Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, I guess it gets weird, like as you've been in the industry longer and longer, like your CV or your resume should be long enough and full of enough things to push any doubt that you could do the job away. But sometimes, I mean, dude, sometimes art tests are really long, and those are scary because it's just time dedicated towards something that like could possibly not pan out. But a good art test is one that's not too lengthy because, you know, maybe the person that's doing the art test has a job as well.
Yeah, of course. So you
can't expect them to do like a 40-hour art test and then also do 40 hours of work.
Yeah.
And then also raise their family if they've got a family.
So
maybe they've got like a 2-hour commute or whatever too. But like a good art test is like, it's short and concise, very specific. And if you don't succeed in it, like it's really good to get that feedback to know what was the issue.
Yeah.
So that you can grow. Because in the end, dude, we're all just trying to get better at art.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because like the better you are at art, the more you're gonna like blow up and just be like in the spotlight.
So that's the test if you're like, so the art test is like, right, can they do what we're asking them to do in a set amount of time and all that sort of stuff. So
right, maybe their portfolio says like, oh, this person can do it. And like seeing how often they're posting art on their portfolio can be also a sign, like seeing the time difference between them.
Yeah.
Like how active this person is. If they have a blog, that's really nice. I love seeing blogs because it actually shows the production process.
Well, it's like showing you're working out on a maths test, isn't it? It's showing how you got to the end product.
Yeah.
So if you
like
say
I should be doing mine, but I'm not. Sample scene, dude, that'd be huge by now.
Oh man, I mean, you went through like that was in Unreal originally, and then you've gone through to Unity, and you've tried out different bits. Dude, that thing is crazy. Do you ever plan to just sort of go? Because obviously you've been doing it now. I mean, how long have you been doing that scene for now?
Oh, way too long, like 2 years or something like that.
So what's the plan with that? Is it
maybe longer than that now because the Discord community is like 3 years old, so it's so something in there.
So is it?
I mean, maybe I just take what I have and just turn it into dioramas to show people how to make dioramas.
Dioramas,
like that could be cool.
You could do something like you could say, right, you just leave it where it is and jump on something completely, you know, like I don't know, StarCraft. I don't know, you know, that's sci-fi. You've done the rocks in the ancient temples. You could just completely switch it up and do something different.
Switch.
I don't know. It's curious. It's cool to watch though because you see it and it's just like one thing it does say. For people new in the industry, I suppose, is I mean, yourself, you're a senior artist at a massive studio. You know, it's not a quick process. Doesn't matter who you are. Like these things take a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, and I mean the way I'm approaching it is not necessarily like how you would approach it in a production setting.
Yeah,
because you can't 0 to 1 sculpt and unwrap and bake everything for everything.
Yeah,
that's just.
As much as we'd like to.
That's painful, and the time it would take. There's tons of shortcuts, and like maybe touching on those shortcuts is what's coming next, right?
I mean, I'm guessing
like
that's the point
you
of
how
the
to do that.
That's the point of the podcast. The stream. I'm guessing is helping show some of that stuff because I mean, there's a ton of stuff you've shown on there where I'm like, holy shit, I didn't ever think of that, or I didn't know about that, or I didn't know about that tool, or I didn't know about that like technique. I'm guessing that's what the original when you went from gaming to I suppose art. Was that the goal? Was the education side of stuff, or was it more personal?
The true goal of why I started streaming game art production was to force myself to do personal art at home.
That's it.
Like yeah, and then the what is it? The Discord only came out because like there were regulars that were coming into chat, and I noticed even though the stream was off, I saw them chatting in the chat room.
Oh, really?
And like I was like, oh, I should just make a Discord for them. And I had already made a Discord for League of Legends, which I don't even play. I made a Discord for League of Legends for Ben Wilson, and I was like, oh, dude, we can go in here and we can play. I can try and get you into Dota, because I was kind of interested in Dota as well, and Matthew O'Halloran and Chris Radsby were also into it, and so it was us four in there. I don't know, for like a few months.
Yeah.
But nothing was happening in there. So then I just rebranded the name of the Discord and started making channels, and then started putting the link in here. Man, there was a porn bot. Oh my gosh. Were you in the Discord when that happened?
Oh, what? Sorry?
There was a bot that got a hold of the invite code.
Yeah.
This is before I knew how to use Discord, even just a little bit. And a bot got a hold of it, and there were like, I don't know, 100 characters that jumped into the Discord within a few seconds, and there was just porn like everywhere.
Oh my God. No, I wasn't part of it then.
Dude, it was I don't even know. Maybe there was like 100 people in the Discord at that time.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more. I don't know when that happened, but yeah, thankfully Ohm was there and showed me how to purge everything and get rid of because it was like panic. Like it was happening, and all I could do was see it on my cell phone. That was at work, and I'm like, oh my God, what do we do?
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, that's awful. That's obviously awful, but it's also amazing. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, so the reason I made this community, it started as like me trying to just better myself.
Yeah.
And naturally, when people are in chat, I'm always telling them things, because like if you ever work with me, you will know, and Ben can attest to this. Like I'm like, dude, have you looked at this? Have you tried this program? Like even the moderators are like, why are you always trying programs? Like you need to just chill out, man. Like we're talking organizational programs, or like just how to stream better, or like we have an Instagram now.
Oh,
and like
so sick.
Yeah, so we have an Instagram, and it posts on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because I finally set up Hootsuite and automated the process. So I just grab people's work from a Excel sheet that the moderators and I are filling in, and then I just slot people in for the time, and then it just happens automatically. And I started doing that with the YouTube channel as well.
I had no idea that like that even existed. So when I used to, when you showed me that, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know Instagram had this sort of back end stuff to be able to do this. So when you showed me Hootsuite, I was like, oh, it all makes sense now.
You can do it with Twitter in there as well.
And it is super cool. Like when you started the Discord, so you set up the Discord, you set up all the channels and all this sort of stuff, and all the people from your Twitch joined in. What was like just back then? This is like 3 years ago now. You set up. Did you have like even an inkling that this could evolve into something, or were you just sort of like, yeah, it just makes it easier, so they're not talking in Twitch? Like, was there even a hint of what a long-term goal, or like what it could be long-term, or is it just like it's just
no?
Easier
It was never like it was never. I wouldn't say it was never the plan to support something big like this. I'll say that it was like it never occurred to me that a lot of people would join and just stay organized. I mean, obviously, shout out to the moderators and Ohm.
Yeah,
those guys really work hard to make sure that it stays organized, and we're always like redirecting people. Red, I love you. But like, it's all I think that is making this Discord successful is making sure that it's kind of staying in the right lane on this freeway that's heading towards like a super city. Yeah, because like channels are just forming inside of this Discord based on demand. Yeah. So like we did the level 80 article recently, and at the end of it, if anyone read through all of it, at the very end, I kind of pointed out my next goal is to try and bring level designers in. Yeah. Because it's all art, which is great. I want a place for us to all chat and like build on that resource page, our command, our Empire Command channel. Yeah. And so if I can get everyone starting to communicate with level designers earlier than when they actually start working with them in the late game of uni, or like when they get into the industry, if I can get them talking earlier, then there'll be less headaches for everyone earlier in their career.
That makes complete sense.
Having a common language sooner rather than later.
It's kind of crazy, really, that like, I mean, there's a lot of people. I think everyone who's in your Discord are probably in multiple Discords, but yours is like I said. I think part of it is it's so successful because I think part of it is, like you said, people are redirecting. You're keeping it organised. It's all very professional. But also, I think that one of the big things for me is just a quality of critiques, and like, you could be a entry level, just come out of university and post work, and you've got some amazing people. Abel's great, TJ. Everyone's and then people who are newer to the community as well just jumped in, and some of the critiques they give are incredible. And like it doesn't matter if you're new or you're a complete vet, you're getting really good advice and critique off people, and that's something you don't see it in other channels. Dude,
it's crazy. It's crazy, man. Because like there's like Blue with PDF level critique,
God, so good.
Like it's heavy, man.
It's like what Abel did it for me the other day. I mean, I posted something and he took my image, and he spent all night on that, man. Like, he was overpainting, and like he had a big old feedback, and I was like, damn, man. And also I think people appreciate that, because like if someone just throws like a random comment out there, that's one thing, but me reading that and seeing what he did and his suggestions, I was like, I'm going to take this and actually apply, because he's put in a lot of time to do that. I'm going to put the same amount of time.
So people are like giving examples of like how to behave in the Discord, I guess.
It's huge.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's weird because I'm watching Discord right now, and you've got moderators talking in your stream, but then you also have them welcoming new people into the Discord.
Yeah, it's so good, man. I mean, to be fair, since your level 80 article, it is crazy. Like, every time I'm going off topic, and like, there's just new people. There's at least like a few a day, and it's like, oh, this community is growing at a rate of knots, and it's like, it's so good. Like, it's flooding. Good. It's so good. And the quality is up there as well. Well-oiled machine. I mean, you've got some guys who are like just as dedicated to you. Like, your work ethic, I think, rubs off on a lot of people. I mean, we were speaking before we went live about this. your need to
my obsession with time.
Well, to be fair, I recommend you mentioned it ages ago in a stream, and it's something I've done myself, is that time diary thing, seeing where you can maximize your time and efficiency. Man.
Yeah, blocking time out is huge. So I started with like trying to like micro block out stuff to do.
Yeah.
But like that gets mentally tiring, and then you just quit doing it. But if you do like a block of time like that, so like if you wake up at 6, right? And you do all of your morning stuff, don't track any of that. Like, why would you track that? But like the first block of time, maybe like, say you wake up at 6, you do all of your morning stuff, take a shower, eat, all that, walk the dog, feed the dog. Then you have maybe 9:30 or 9 to 12. That's like lunchtime, right? So 9 to 12. That's like a chunk of time where you can think about, okay, what can I try and do in that time? So you create like a micro like start and end. So you even get like the mental, like the feeling of achievement if you can complete what you tasked for that chunk of time. You do that 3 times or 2 times a day, and now you're like ultra productive.
Yeah. Do you find it hard to play games? Do you find it hard to like relax?
So right now I'm playing Anno, but Anno and Astroneer. But it's funny because those are management games, right?
Oh my god.
Right. So it's just like I'm still managing a bunch of stuff. Like, what the hell am I doing? No, I love playing games. I don't play nearly enough, but at the same time, like the Discord's kind of like a game for me. Yeah. And like managing stuff and moving things around and planning things is kind of it gives me the same like enjoyment as like playing a game. But I go through pretty heavy gaming passes. Like sometimes I'll get sick and then I'm like, all right, I go home. Okay, there's no stream. I'm going to just play this game. And then I find out that I played the game for like 8 hours.
Does that have it's like a feedback loop though? Do you go like, so I was listening to Joe Rogan yesterday on one of his podcasts with Brendan Sharp, and he's talking about it's about comedians and writing and writer's block, and he said something and I was like, damn, that applies to us. He's like, it's a bit of advice he got, which was, if you got a writer's block or anything like that, go and be entertained and by being entertained, you'll be inspired, and by being inspired, you'll do work. And he was like, it doesn't matter what you do, go listen to music, watch TV, play games, whatever entertains you will inspire you at some point. And do you find that for yourself when you're playing games? Do you get that feedback loop where it's like you play a game, like for me it was Horizon Zero Dawn recently, like I played that and I was like, oh my god, this game's incredible. So it like give me a kick up the ass to do some work. And I have that sort of feedback
a little
loop where
bit,
you go
yeah.
like that.
It's more about like it's exactly what you're saying. You get inspired and then you're like, oh man, I want to do that. And like it's totally like, no matter what you're doing, if you're walking around outside and just looking at stuff or looking at the sky, like when you first start modeling and then you look at everything differently.
Yeah.
And it's like you can see the wireframe. It's like, dude, I see the Matrix, but it's the wireframe of the reality around you.
Yeah. Do you look at the real world and go, actually, the real world isn't that good? I'll sit on a bus sometimes and I'll see a bus and I'll go, that don't make sense. Like, that panel does not make sense. Like, I don't understand. Like, if I was modeling this, like...
Yeah, if you did that, it would look like a bug.
Or like light map errors. Someone posted a light map error in real life into Discord, and I was like, that legit looks like a light map error. It's like, it was just a light switch or something. Here. This is crazy, but I shouldn't even be thinking about this. This is real life. Don't question it.
Yeah, it's like reality. Dude, reality is whack, man. Because we have like a perceived reality, and then we have like the reality that is what we perceive in video games. So video games kind of follow a different rule versus like what you see in real life.
Yeah.
And it's all imitation.
Yeah.
It's like even movies do it. Like,
It's
that's
weird
why
though,
movies look weird.
I was gonna say it's weird though, isn't it? Because even though they're reality, like you can all, it doesn't matter what it is. It's so weird because I can't really put my finger on it. It's like you just look and you just go, it's not real. Like it doesn't. Even if I was in real life happening in front of you, it isn't quite real. And also because it gets polished up and all this sort of stuff and effects and whatever. But yeah, I know it is crazy because it is just. I can never put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but you do just look at it and go, "That's real," and that isn't. And like, it's because they're like I said, they're two different types of reality.
Well, it's like with scans, that like when you start scanning stuff and properly setting it up to be in games,
yeah,
that looks pretty real. And if you can prop it in a way that is natural, it looks pretty real, and almost like you can't tell the difference between reality and a scan, right? I think where that will come into play is probably when you merge stuff like that with Houdini.
Ooh.
Like if you look at what Quixel is doing in their recent stuff that they showed off, they've got like a Greebles tool where they just give it a basic shape and then they press a few clicks to randomize it, and it just puts greebly detail of like Star Wars up close hotness all over the mesh. And it's not even, all you did was give it a box.
What tool was that? Is that a Quixel tool?
No, it's just in Houdini.
Oh, Houdini.
But Quixel is using Houdini in combination with their tools.
Oh, are they? Oh my god.
Yeah, that recent scene they showed for Unreal, I'm already forgetting the name of it. I'm sure someone in chat will say. But dude, they're not even using RTX. They're not even using they're not even using RTX. It's crazy.
Oh god, that's smart. I need to. Houdini is one of them where it's like I need to look at this because it's
weird, man.
It's so powerful.
Rebirth. Thank you, Blue. Yeah, it's called Rebirth.
Yeah. I know which one that is. That's so sick. I love them too. I love seeing tools that people are doing. Like, you know, where like the company comes out with like a scene or an environment where they're like, look what you could do. Like, this is what you could do if you really figured out our thing. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to figure out your thing, because if I can get close to that, I'll be a pretty happy boy.
Yeah, it's interesting because Houdini at the same time is not necessarily like, you don't use it to create assets in the sense that like kind of what I'm showing on my streams. You use it to like streamline and automate a lot of like technical pipeline background stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get it to do that, like you can do anything, man. Like you can even plug Substance inside of it. And then you can turn that into a batch script that Python will grab. So you can just have a folder, do all your ZBrush sculpts, save those ZBrush sculpts into a folder, and then have Houdini. You run a script, Houdini reads those ZBrush files, opens them, turns them into OBJs, makes the low res version of it, unwraps it, bakes it, Substance textures it, and then spits out the automatic like end result. Yeah. You can do it. It's doable.
I'm picking up Houdini, but it's not this. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna have to look at this stuff because that's insane. It's like one of the things you hear it and you're like, nah, that's too good to be true. I call bullshit, but it's like, you've seen people do it and you're like, I've seen it happen. It's true. It has to be.
Like you see the magic of substance, right?
Yeah.
Now do that with geometry and world building. Like that's what it is.
I swear to God, I wish we could I've said this loads of times to guys at work, like, I wish we could just stretch the day out, like, I'd just stick another 5 hours on the end of the day and like just give us a bit more time to look at this stuff. It sounds so good.
But it's like substance, it's not for everyone. And I will say, even though I'm really excited about it, I will probably never use it to that level. I'll let tech art people use that and set up the stuff for me. And I don't think it's really required of you to be able to get into the industry either.
No, but it's interesting though, because it's sort of thing where it's like, it's one of these, what's the word, nice skills to have. I mean, you look at like photogrammetry or like substance design, I've been able to create procedural materials. They're becoming more and more of these are no longer nice to have, these are like, they're becoming more and more essential. You can see like in another 10 years, maybe Houdini becomes something like that where you need to have some sort of an understanding of it. Not necessarily be like a whiz in it and be the master, but some sort of like understanding of it would be very, very useful. Maybe not now at all, but down the line, if it becomes as prominent as it seems like it's going to be, it's a pretty crazy tool, and it seems like something be useful for a lot of people to know.
Yeah, learn Python.
Oh, I've tried.
That's probably where it goes. Like, if you know Python, you can have Houdini kind of do anything.
I was talking to a guy at work about this. I was like, I might pick up like a little bit of programming. Like, it might be useful for me to just understand some very fundamental programming. Like, just, to have perspective, almost like.
You appreciate it a bit more as well, right?
Yeah, and then I looked through like my day, and I was like, I don't know where I'd squeeze this in, but we'll find room for it somewhere.
Yeah. Dude, if my stream switched to that, it would be, I don't know what people would think.
All your artists, you swap the whole you could just split your Discord in half. You could just have like all your art channels and then all your Python and programming channels. I mean,
oh man,
would you ever consider that? Like, you're going to branch out to level artists, level designers.
There's a lot of character artists joining.
I was gonna say, there's a lot of character people. I mean, you can it's a whole domain on its own. I said this to Ben. I was like, I'd love to see VFX. I don't see enough VFX. I spoke to
there's a handful in there.
That's what I mean. You got like likes of Matty, what he was doing with Substance, which blew my mind, and I've implemented that into my workflow now because it's such a good way of doing it. But it's like online, there's a big presence of character artists, there's a big presence of 2D artists and substance material artists. I just wish there was more VFX. And I know they're there, and I'm sure they're there.
It's hard to display on ArtStation, right? I think there was a discussion going on about it the other day.
Yeah.
About how like there isn't really animation portfolios or animated anything. Like VFX would be a perfect. I mean, if there was a way to have like on ArtStation there was a tab that was VFX, and when you mouse over those in that big like list of pictures, that they're actually like GIFs of what's being submitted.
Yeah. I think
that would be pretty sick.
I think this is like a bit of some better embedding within the sort of the submission process, because in a moment you have to submit like a YouTube link. If that was streamlined and cleaned up a little bit, where it wasn't, it is a YouTube link, but it doesn't visually appear that way. It's just a thumbnail which plays the video. That sort of stuff. But I know what you mean. That would be pretty sick if you were God, they'll change our
You just have to be careful. Actually. You just have to be careful, because I see like it would have to be hover over.
Yeah.
Because you don't want it to just be a bunch of noise of things moving.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
It's its own composition, right?
But you can imagine people being like, you can see it just shift ArtStation again, because you've watched ArtStation like over the past like year. You can see like trends and flows and stuff. And I could just imagine if that kicked off where like previewing like GIFs, you could just imagine like VFX stuff, turntables. I mean, I loved it's still the best one I've seen. TJ's material where he had like a cylinder and he's got a light going around it. And
dude, those are big. That's like, in my opinion, sick. That's the best way to show a material.
I mean,
is having a light around it.
That's one of my favorite ones I've seen. Like still to this day, I've seen a lot of them, and that's one of my favorites. And it's like I can just imagine that, like, you know, you hover over a material, you see the light move around it, and that's talking from like a substance artist point of view. But you could do so much. That could change our station again. You could just see a leapfrog in another state. You know, like hovering over 3D characters, and they could just have idle animations. They're breathing, smoke going.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh god, that'd be so sick.
Dude, I'm just thinking about how you could streamline that too. Like, if you had an animated GIF of a character, and then you let the artist that uploaded the GIF handpick 4 locations on the model for the GIF, and then the thumbnail would be switching between those 4 spots in the thumbnail.
Yeah,
because then you could get some really artistic authoring of the thumbnails as well.
Yeah. They become like almost like a not a medium in their own, but yeah, a presentation.
It's almost like film. Yeah. Anyways, what were you gonna say?
I'm now fantasizing about what our station could be right now. I'm just losing my mind over that. So what's so you've touched on it a little bit. You know, you got your characters, all this sort of stuff. I just wanted to talk about like your one-to-one stuff. When you're streaming, and you're creating someone, what are you looking for when you create? Like, do you ever thought, because obviously everything's interpretive, is subjective. So from your point of view, when someone submits something to you to create, say like a scene, do you have like a set of tick boxes you go through and you're like, right, do they do this? Yeah, no, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
right, yeah.
What's your thought process when you're looking at something with a critical eye?
So when I look at something, first of all, I look to see how noisy it is.
Yeah.
Like, I look at the noisy versus like calm ratio, like high frequency detail versus like smoother surfaces or not as noisy surfaces. And that should be like 70-30. So 70% calm, like your eye can rest on that area and not be like overwhelmed. And then 30% high frequency detail. Matthew O'Halloran, you look at his portfolio, it's very focused around that. And like all concept artists will tell you the same thing. Like that's where it stems from. So that's the first thing. And then next is like, what am I focusing on? And I guess those can be pretty interchangeable, but it's like, okay, you've got this lighting and this camera perspective angle. Like, what am I looking at? Where does my eye get drawn to? And you can move that around with lighting or color or just the way that how close something is to the camera versus how far away. So it's that type of stuff, the noise frequency. And then things that bug me tend to be laser lines or things that look like geometry.
Yeah,
That's why I always get crazy about adding bevels to everything.
I don't blame you. It's a really good point. I remember that was the first stream I watched. You spoke about that. It was like the silhouette. You could see, like, I think it's a silhouette. You saw something where you basically could work out how it was modeled. Like, okay, they extruded there, and then like, you know, there's the floating geometry there, and that's it. And it's like that was the first time I saw that, and I was like, oh, okay. You shouldn't be able to.
If you can break that illusion.
Yeah,
if you can break that illusion or break that look and fulfill the illusion of it actually being like more detailed than it actually is, then you're like on the road to like really amazing art.
I suppose that's like the nature of you being. I suppose you're an environment artist, so like you do look at things in that bigger picture, camera lens every time. Like the nature of the job, I guess.
Yeah, rule of thirds is also like something that I don't even like. I haven't really said that in a while.
No, I saw you tweeted today.
It's something that you just see, and if it's not there, you notice that it's not lining up to that rule of thirds. It's not even like the basic rule of thirds. It's breaking it up in a couple different rule of thirds, and that you can really create some really cool angles with that.
Yeah,
really nice compositions.
Is that a sort of thing where it's like if someone who's not educated in game art look at something like a scene and go, it doesn't look right, like it's a really vague term, but I'm guessing stuff like that, that's what's contributing to it.
Doesn't look procedural, like, oh, that material looks really procedural. That doesn't really get to the bottom of like why you feel like that. Like it doesn't feel real.
So I suppose that's where stuff like the rule of thirds and the 70-30 ratio for like visual noise to like eye rest. That's the sort of, it's like all of these little things contribute to something looking, quote, right. It's all these little things coming together.
Laser lines is another thing that I look for.
What do you mean by laser lines?
So laser lines are like, so if you've got like a sidewalk or like the edge of a building that's really sharp and it just cuts all the way down the shot.
Okay.
Or like the sidewalk that has the straight edge that meets the road and then it just goes off into the distance. Yeah, you got to break that thing. You got to like put props on top of it, anything you can do to break the straightness of that line.
I get what you mean. So there's like give it some, just to, break it up a little bit. So even if it's just some debris, dirt, whatever, just to hide that line almost.
Like look for that line in reality, and it's really annoying when you see it because then you can't stop seeing it.
You know what? You must be a joy to walk. You just sit there, you just walk down the street and just go, oh, go look at that. Look, I can see a laser line there. It's like, what? It's a building. Like, no, there's a laser line there. That's bad. Not good at all. Hey, there's a light map. Oh god, I can just imagine what goes through your head like when you're walking down the street.
Yeah, I got lucky. My partner, like, she'll just, we're all walking down the street and we've got Maru with us and he's walking on his leash, barking at people. And we're just walking. And then all of a sudden I'll see something and then I have to go take a picture of it. And, I take my phone out and I get really close to it and I'm just taking pictures of it. And Maru, like, he just runs over and he's like, what are you looking at? What is this? And he's like looking at the same spot, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. So like half of my photos in my phone are just, you can see the edge of his nose. Like in all of my photos, and I have to like crop them out because he's looking too.
And I know exactly what you mean. Cause we had a business trip to Malta, and the last day we did some like tourist stuff, and all the guys were taking photos. Like we were looking at the ocean, and behind me was the fort. Like it's a big like defensive fort for Malta, like the last bastion, and there was a really cool like wall with like loads of erosion, and there was about it must have been about 80 people all lining up to take photos of this really beautiful shot of the ocean. And I'm like 10 meters behind them, like getting really close up photos of this wall. And then I turn around again, but I literally turn around and it's like 20 people just staring at me like I'm some sort of freak. I'm like, oh yeah, I probably should get one photo of the really beautiful view.
That's amazing, dude. We're all in the same boat.
No one understands. If
that's why you're in the Discord. Everyone gets you there.
I mean, it's interesting though because Ben like made a good point about this, like. The entry level for stuff like conversations surrounding like 3D art, like what you just said then, like breaking the laser lines and all this sort of stuff. Entry level to be able to have a conversation with someone and understand what you're talking about, it's quite hard. So when you find a community where everyone's on the same wavelength,
and they're all saying the same,
exactly, everyone's using the same.
That's
lingo
a cult,
as
man.
you.
You gotta be careful. That's like a cult.
Well, dude, you started it, so what does that make you?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just back up like, oh no.
So moving on a little bit to the mentorship stuff. It was like, I mean, I think all of you guys there's a few of you doing this sort of stuff. One, I think it's absolutely insane. I think it's great. It's like, you guys are busy as it is. Like, anyone who works in the games industry, your work schedule is insane anyway. Then there's you who also decides to be a nutter and run a Discord and you stream and all this sort of stuff. You then decided, you know what, I have still too much time on my hands, I'll take up mentoring. Like,
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Is there any like prerequisites? Is there a ceiling to it where it's like, right, I just don't think you need my mentorship? Like, do you think what's the sort of criteria for it for you? Like, I mean,
there's always the fear that like someone signs up and I'm below what they need. Like, not that they suck, but that they're so good that like I'm not going to be able to help. Like, oh, you should go talk to this guy because he's going to be of more use to you than me. But I leave it quite open. Like, if you jump in and you don't even know like how to ZBrush anything, like we can just take the mentorship and just be in ZBrush the whole time.
Yeah.
Again, like the longer mentorships, like it's 5 weeks. Where you can message me on the Discord and everyone messages me anyways, but you can message me on Discord and I can help like answer questions.
Yeah.
And then once a week for those 5 weeks, we do a 1-hour call. You've got a Notion page. I said Notion, right? Not Ocean. An Ocean sounds dope right now. A Notion page that just has like all of the stuff that you're interested in and links that I find or useful stuff. Including your own work. and then we critique that and talk about stuff to learn for that 1 hour. And then in that same week, we do a 15-minute video recording on my side that I send to you based on what you've done for the week. And we do that for 5 weeks. So it's pretty, it's, I wouldn't say it's too intensive, but like after this call, for example, I've got 3 that I have to do. Oof. 3 video
so maybe
feedback.
You just decide you're not busy
45
enough.
Minutes.
it's like, I'm not busy enough, man. I need more shit to do. So yeah, that's the thing. So
that's cool.
The calls you have with the guys doing the mentorship, is that like, how does that conversation go? Is it a lot of you talking to them? Is it a lot of them talking? Is it a very 50-50 back and forth conversation? Like, how does that even get structured?
It varies.
You go off on a lot of tangents there.
Yeah, I can. So either I go off in a tangent and then like I have a little, so I have a stream deck. I don't know if you know what those are.
No, I'm an ignorant person.
A little macro screen thing for streamers.
Okay.
But I like make a bunch of like buttons. So if I press a button, it'll have like, it's got a little screen behind the button. So it'll show like, I can make a button for 15 minutes. So when I feel like I'm going on a tangent, or I'm like, okay, I decide I'm going to go on a tangent, I press this button and it starts blinking when I've been on a tangent for about 45 seconds. That way I can pull back out of the tangent and get back into like an actual conversation. So I don't like waste all of their time.
God, that's even a higher level of like organization. Jesus, man.
Because I'm trying not to waste their time, right?
Yeah.
But like, it comes down to like, okay, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want to learn, or what are you having problems with? Sometimes a mentorship is just me confirming to them that the things they're thinking and the things they're trying to do, they shouldn't hesitate because they're doing the right things. Because there's not really a right or wrong way to do something. There's just do it. And if it's faster and it looks better, then it's probably a better answer. I don't know.
So when they finish up, is there any do you get people sort of who want just, I suppose, I don't want to call it advice, but support or direction in terms of, okay, for this particular mentorship, I don't want artistic advice. I want advice in terms of networking or being a presence online. Because I mean, that's something that, you know, you have a ton of knowledge on, is being a presence online. You know, you're known throughout the industry. Obviously you have Discord, and like, you know, with your art, you're not like someone like, so your content is all through your stream and your Discord and your YouTube channel.
Right. It's probably more of a echo chamber than it should be. Like, I should be posting on Twitter more than I do, but that's just something that I just don't put enough value into. I end up like, I'll just focus on the community. And but for anyone that needs to network, like how you network or how you meet people, like joining an online community is big. Being on the art station, right? That's another really, like, looking at what everyone else is making and not being scared about posting your work on ArtStation, because there are gods on there. And I mean, everyone's got a god and everyone kind of sucks. Like, that's just...
We were talking about this the other day about that, because we're like, ArtStation's like, it's one of these things you can look at it and beat yourself up. I mean, I'm the sort of person that sees an amazing piece of art and I'm like, I'm inspired to do it, but I can understand there's people who probably look at ArtStation and, like I said, there's some gods on there in terms of quality, and you're like, it's daunting.
Yeah.
But everyone's like you said, I think it's a biblical thing. It's like, to be a master, you have to be willing to be a fool. And it's the exact same with art. Like, you have to be willing to be bad, because everyone has to start somewhere and everyone has to, you know, move along somehow.
Yeah, you've got people that we are just like, that is an impossible skill level to reach, but that person did it.
Yeah.
It's doable. It's doable. It's just like how much time you put towards it. And I don't burn yourself out, man. I watch people burn themselves out. It's scary.
Oh man,
burnout's insane. You got to be like if I need to step back and just not stream, I'll just say I'm not streaming tonight. It's better to just not stream and just chill.
I learned that the hard way. I mean, I think I put a blog post out about it back in September. Like, I ended up taking a break from art for personal art for about 8 months. Because I was just like, I was doing semi-full-time rugby. I was doing art, personal art, all this sort of stuff, and it's just like, I ended up hitting a wall. And it had been made more sense to go a bit slower, but be consistent, than go at it a million miles an hour and then be doing. I was literally doing nothing for about 8 months. And then now it's good. Like finding a good balance, but that is, yeah, it's hard finding. That burnout.
Dude, part of that's just being like comfortable with the idea that you don't have to do art all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And I think you were touching on that a little bit when it's like finding inspiration in other things, like just playing games or going outside or hanging out with friends, or, it's just taking a break is totally fine. Like I stream, right? And then I run the Discord and then I do critiques. My personal art time is only during stream. So I only do my personal art on Monday for 2 hours. And if that is 2 hours of me troubleshooting something that didn't work, I guess that's what happened.
So I suppose you can answer my question for me with that one then. So I'm guessing you have no plans to pick up anything new, any new software or techniques, or is there anything? You could implement it, I suppose, into that 1 hour on a Monday, but I suppose that's not enough time to really.
If I get really curious about something, I'll start diving into it.
Is there anything else?
Like I bought Houdini.
Oh, have you? Ooh.
Yeah, I bought Houdini Indie just to.
So you've got me on Modo as well, like, because Max has been giving me some grief, and I'm like, I've got Lucas on one side praising Blender is the best thing since sliced bread, and then I see Modo and I'm like, I remember watching you use Modo and I was like, that looks really fluid to use and it looks like on my stream. I'm like, I need to invest in this. But then also it's like, you got like some Marvelous and all these other cool bits of kit. Is there anything like, so you plan to pick up Houdini a little bit then if you bought it? Like, I'm guessing it's there in your peripheral.
Yeah, so the goal is to try and force myself to like dabble in it and see if I can use it to help streamline some of the stuff I'm doing.
Yeah.
And like I made the conscious decision. I think I've gone back and forth on it, but it's happening now. So the next scene will be in Unreal because you guys all use Unreal. So it's going to be more relatable to like your guys' questions and troubleshooting and problem solving. And Houdini plugs into that quite well.
Is it?
So yeah. I mean, if you build like a spline, like you can build a spline in Unreal, right? Mm-hmm. Or you can build a spline in Houdini and then save that Houdini file and drag that Houdini file directly into Unreal and use it directly in the viewport in real time. Like you could do some amazing things, man. This includes a building system. Like if you wanted to make like there's a YouTube video that shows you how to make a building system.
Yeah, that's the one I've seen. So that's to me, that's as far as I've got into Houdini. Like, oh yeah, I could create 50 buildings all looking slightly different, and like that's where my sort of how do I
so like if
software? But I know there's like a million other things, but that's as far as I've got. And I'm like, I'm hearing stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, you could do some. You could do like you make a building tool inside of Houdini that populates building wall pieces based on a footprint, and you just drag that tool into Unreal, and then you can draw out the shape of the building. And it's just like, you know how like Substance you can expose points?
Yeah.
And then those points become editable inside of Unreal. You can do that in Houdini. So you can be like, oh, I'm going to expose that it's 2 floors, and then I'm going to expose that you can change the shape of the layout. So then you drag that into Unreal, and then you can change the shape of the layout, and then say 2 floors, and then duplicate that, and then move it across the street, and then say 4 floors. It's endless, man.
Oh god, mind being blown right now. This is bad. This is bad. This is so bad.
It's dangerous, dude.
It's interesting, man.
But see, you have to put that time in, though. You have to understand how it works, how that all.
What be gotten there. You mentioned you wanted to like, so next thing you're definitely going to do UE use Unreal.
Yeah.
Have you like put any thought yourself into like what's going to be the framework? Because obviously you use it as a means to help troubleshoot people, and it's a
just lots of learning for myself as well, and so teaching, and yeah.
Have you got a framework yet? What you're thinking along the lines of what you're going to do, or is it like still?
Oh yeah.
Oh, can you share that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh,
so I've talked a little bit about it on the stream and stuff, or like even in the Discord, but I mean, if you don't catch that like 10 seconds of me saying it, right, or the line of text and the endless stream of Discord text, you'll miss it. But so the idea is more of like so the framework is more cyberpunk like. So a lot of hard surface, pipes and all that jazz. But then taking a page out of Chris Radsby's book and challenging myself to look at stylized textures, so like Studio Ghibli style painterly looking materials, and then whatever I can do with Houdini combined with that. That's basically so Houdini, Moto, stylized textures, and hard surface, like steampunky or like cyberpunky looking stuff.
Damn, son, that sounds insane.
So it's just pure challenge. Like that should give me a bunch of stuff to mess with for a couple of years.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around like the stylized textures with this site, because obviously cyberpunk's a lot of neon and stuff, and oh god, that's cool. You know what it reminds me of? There's a game a while ago. It's a cyberpunk like pixel art game, but like they have realistic. The Last Night, that's it, and has like the realistic lighting. With
that looks good, man.
So I can in my head, I don't know why I could just visualize that, like the stylized textures, but with the soft, realistic neon lights and stuff. Oh my god, dude, that sounds so sick.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of like parallaxing and stuff, so it's still in a 3-dimensional world. Really cool.
Damn, so
really cool. Dude, it's 9/22.
Jesus Christ. Dude, I could literally I say this every single week, and I'm probably gonna say it every single time. I could literally talk to you guys for like hours, but I've got to apologize to yourself and everyone else, because technical issues and computers being annoying. We definitely will figure that out. But I really appreciate you taking the time, man, to come on the podcast, talk, and just a personal thank you for myself, and I'm sure everyone in Discord will think the same and say the same, and people in the Twitch chat. Thank you for this community you've created, and I'm excited to see how it snowballs.
If you start crying, I'm gonna leave.
I tear up all the time, man. I tear up all the time. It's seriously though, like it's such a good community, and I can't wait to see what it turns into over the coming months, because it's seriously snowballing into something special. I mean, it already is something special, but yeah, I'm super excited.
It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm just kind of experiencing it with you guys now.
Yeah.
Like I let it become its own thing.
But dude, I'm definitely gonna have to try. I know you're the busiest man on the planet, but I've definitely get you back on again, and we'll go through some more stuff, because it's been super cool talking to you, and I'm sure the guys appreciate taking the time to talk to us as well.
For sure, dude.
Guys, thanks for stopping by in the Twitch chat. Really appreciate it, and we'll see you same time next Wednesday.
Oh yeah, honeymoon, dude.
Yeah. Glorified dog walk. Yeah. Peace out, guys.